I'm Vic. I'm a software engineer at Eventbrite. On nights and weekends when my kids are asleep, I'm also an indie maker. What this means is that I have a bunch of side projects and I get to play around with cool stuff that I might not get to touch at work. My talk today is actually about building tech for social good with low-code tools. It's the origin story of one of my indie projects. Okay, let's see. If I can figure out how to change this slide. What's happening? That's not good. Okay, cool. We're gonna go back here. There we go. All right. Thank you. I was hoping we could all wait till the end, but that works. Okay, first some definitions, right? Low code is kind of that mix between software that you write entirely in an IDE and software that is no code. This sort of weird definition is something that I came up with, but I'm sure there are better ones that exist out there. Maybe I should go back and change the title to like some code, but I'm not gonna do that right now. Honestly, okay, so let's do the next definition, I guess. Social good, right, is typically defined as something that benefits the general public or creates a positive societal impact. This is as opposed to being created entirely, purely as a way to generate profit. Not that profit is a bad thing. People have to pay their bills. But code is expensive, and no code is expensive. I'm very proud of this slide. This is a room full of mostly developers, I assume. Most people who are watching this right now, except my kids, are probably developers. It's difficult to help people on a limited budget. Like when you're on a limited budget and you're on time, it's difficult to help them make an impact when you can't give up that much of your time, right? On the contrary, if you try to like create something that is entirely no code, that's a bit of a recurring monthly subscription cost that you have to figure out and take care of. And there's just more points that can break when all those integrations happen. This means that a large number of businesses still actually rely on snail mail, bank checks, and faxes. Go back, yep. And I mean, there's this conventional startup wisdom that says that you should go find businesses that use fax machines and you should go compete with them. And he's not wrong. But point number one here, right, is a lot of profit. And there are a lot of businesses out there that just cannot afford to pay you to do crazy things like that, to go over there and compete. And really, do you want to compete with like a preschool? Do you want to start your own preschool? So, whoa. Okay, there we go. So story time. This actually is where, my story of what I did starts. A few years ago, we enrolled one of our kids in a preschool, and I was just shocked at how much paper that we had to deal with. The application form was paper. The allergy info that you had to do was paper. The payment that you had to do, there's more. Look at that. Emergency medical info, what allergy your kids have, and then there's like the medical history form that you got to take to a doctor, and they got to fax it in, or you got to pick it up from them and then take it back to the school. And then it says, okay, registration is due on a certain such date, right? Like it says, address an envelope to yourself, and then print all this stuff out, and either mail it or drop it off. And then you got to make sure that medical record also gets to them. And then they will notify you in writing, like this is the thing, I'm not making this up. We then got a piece of mail that said, congratulations, your child has been accepted into our preschool. Right? It's sort of ridiculous, but this is actually how most of this country still operates. And it's just nuts. And then the part that's missing in all this is you also have to write a check and you gotta go drop it off in this in this box with a hole in it. And you hope that they got it and that no one else got it. And then you don't really know if they're gonna cash that check or not until your kid gets into school. It's so fun thing. So what happened was I didn't think any of this was out of the ordinary. That's the other problem. I was like, yeah, that sounds fine. 5 pages of forms. And then what happened was, so this took 20 hours times 3 people, and this was 65 hours long. And how do you solve a problem like this, right, on a zero budget? I can't tell if that's the real timer or that's the before all the problems started timer. Anyway, so a new director started, and she said, hey, I'm drowning in paper. And I emailed her, and I said, I'm good at software. I build workflows. And she's like, yes, please, I'm drowning in paper. So my whole thing is, so the MVP that you build of something with low tech is you focus only on the front end. Just shed scope. Don't build anything with the back end. Your users don't care about the back end. So why are you focusing on the back end, right? And that's kind of the universal truth. Users absolutely do not care about your back ends. If your back end was a text file but your front end was amazing, your users will still love you and you'll make $1 million. But not if you're working on preschool. But do you have time to build out a whole back end? Then this talk isn't for you. You should go do that. By the way, I'm showcasing, so this is Excel, which works actually perfectly fine. If you want to have your form dump everything into Excel, it works perfectly fine. But that's not a database. But it will work perfectly fine. But what I actually ended up doing is creating a much better developer experience and user experience by dumping all that stuff that people would put in these forms. And actually, big shout out to Eric Rasmussen if he's here, because the entire front end was just React Final Form. It would just dump JSON, and I would just put it into Airtable. Let's see. But you don't have time to implement filtering and grouping and pagination, stuff like that. Just use something like Airtable. Or, I'm giving a lot of shout out to Airtable here, but use whatever you want, right? So let's talk about what happens after this. At this point, basically, parents were happy because they could just fill out a form on their phone or on a computer. They didn't have to go anywhere. And this was pre-COVID. And all this stuff just worked. The school was no longer, taking 65 hours to do this thing. This used to take 65 hours. And then it became 4 hours. And I just didn't bother building an MVP version 2. Let's see. When you outsource scope like this, you can iterate super, super fast. COVID happened, really fast form. I don't know what the actual time count is, so I'm going to just speed through the next couple in like 5 seconds. Okay, not all problems though can be solved by self-hosted forms. Sometimes you need to do things that are more than just a form submitting to a database. So recently we had a no-fuss fundraiser at the school, and previously they used to raise something like $2,000-3,000. But when you make it really easy for parents, when you make it really easy for people, they will donate insane amounts of money if they don't have to get up off their butts to do stuff. And they ended up raising like $70,000. There are other small shout out here to Everfund. They're here somewhere as well. They are a no-code donation platform. Anyway, you can do a lot more than just help preschools, even though that was my example. I also run a beer festival, and why this matters is that so all of the money for that goes towards benefiting prostate cancer or scholarships for people, and even that is built with Airtable. That's it. Anyway, move fast, do good things, work on things that give you good karma for cheap, and being able to work with low-code tools means that you don't have to invest a lot of your own time. Thank you so much. You can find me on Twitter.